Hi, I'm Peach PRC and I'm here with Rising Star.
Thank you. So I like to start off my interviews with little silly questions. So if you were a flavor of ice cream, what would you be?
Peach.
Peach. Only makes sense. Only makes sense. And what's one of the weirdest or funniest thing that's ever happened to you while on stage?
That was something pretty crazy, but I haven't said it because I didn't want to ruin the moment for them, because for them it was very special, but there was on my end it was a complete accident, so I just let them have their moment. But it was a bit of an accident that two people got on stage, but they ended up proposing to each other. Well, one proposed to the other, and it was actually really sweet and beautiful. So, but it was not intentional for them to be on stage. But
Nice. But yeah, beautiful moment for them for sure. And I think I know the answer, but if you could wear one color for the rest of your life, what would it be?
it would be pink.
It would be- it's a given. Amazing. So can you tell us a bit about how you got into music and your evolution since you started?
I've been singing since I was really little. Like, I've always wanted to be a singer, songwriter, and I've been writing songs since I was maybe like 8 years old. And yeah, I've been singing as long as I can remember.
Nice. And now, do you still live in Australia and you're touring?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So how do you find the music scene in Australia?
I think they've been really kind to me, and like the pop music that I'm doing, like I think it's not Australia's sort of like typical genre that they lean towards. So it's nice to see how receptive they've been to me being so pop. But yeah, I definitely sort of fall more into the US sort of side of things.
For sure. And being a woman in the music industry, how has that been?
I think, I mean, I'm still pretty new to it all. Like, I think I've only really been like in it for the last like year or two. And my experience has been like I'm surrounded by all women and queer people, like just like other artists. I mean, like the people that I'm friends with. So I don't really like feel that different towards it.
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a blessing if you're surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so Manic Dream Pixie, can you tell us how, like, the inspiration behind that and what led to creating a short film with it?
Yeah. So it originally was just a compilation of like, 5 of my favorite songs, 5 or 6 of my favorite songs that I'd done over the last few years. It was never really meant to be some kind of cohesive story, but then someone from my team pitched the idea of maybe doing a short film for it, and like overnight I wrote the whole script and like the whole treatment for it, and like tried to find a way to make all of the songs tie together in one story while still keeping them true to the lyrics. So and I was really happy with it.
And what would you want someone who watches the short film, what do you, like, emotions do you want them to feel, and what message did you really want to come across?
I try not to like have any like set intentions with things like that. Like, I like to leave it up to the viewer, because sometimes they take away something that I never considered, like with the music. So I don't want to spoil that for them by saying this is what I want you to feel and this is what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying things, and whatever you feel from that is your own experience.
For sure. Yeah, one of my favorite things that I learned when I studied English was death of the author. And it's like, once you put, it's the same thing of like death of the artist. Once you put something out there, it's how people perceive it has no longer anything to do with you.
Not mine anymore. It's for them.
Exactly. It's for them. And so my personal favorite song by you is Forever Drunk. And the lyrics, how much like reality is there in the lyrics you write? Because say, can't think until I'm drinking first, stuff like that. Is that a genuine experience you have, or do you have to like change it a bit for?
No, like most of my lyrics are all like coming from like real life experiences. Like it's difficult for me to write from a place of like fantasy or like a different experience that wasn't mine. So yeah, the lyrics they were inspired from like an era in my life, like when I was a teenager and house parties and like had my heart broken for the first time, and this like young love sort of heartbreak, and just yeah, it was, and also inspired by like Stay High by Tove Lo. Like that sort of vibe was the direction of the song.
And now, how do you feel like you've evolved since those times?
I think I am always evolving in different eras, and then you fall back into the same things sometimes, and then you come back out of it with new experiences and new knowledge and new songs. But yeah, I it's obviously a different time in my life than when I was at house parties, heartbroken.
What is your day-to-day like now? Since you said like you've only really been in the industry for like a year or two, so your life must have changed drastically.
Yeah, it's very different. And it changes. Like, so I'll go, a couple of weeks and I'll just be chilling at home, like posting on TikTok, and then it'll be like touring, and it'll be like every single day doing like many different things at once, like doing like interviews and press stuff, and then doing shows and promo, and like it's a lot packed into like a short amount of time, and then I get to rest and go back into it.
What's your favorite day out of all those? Like, what is an ideal day for you, music wise or just personally?
um it varies. Like, I love performing, like I love being able to connect with people, and I love being able to like dress up and put on a show, and like that's really fun. But like I also am a very like introverted person, and I like to have a lot of downtime and personal time. I'm not this like really loud crazy character that people kind of perceive me to be in real life, so I like to just let myself have my moment in peace, and then perform and go back to that.
And then go back to your like solace. Yeah, that's nice. And you mentioned TikTok before, so you've grown significantly on TikTok. What do you think is important for, like, why do you like using TikTok? Why do you spend time posting TikToks for your fans?
I just kind of use it as like a diary, like, really. Same with my songwriting. Like, I just have thoughts, and I don't necessarily want to go and call someone up and tell them. So I just tell the internet. Like, for me, it doesn't really feel like there's like all these millions of people watching. It's kind of like I'm just spitting things out, and once they're out there, I don't look at them again. And it's just a nice place for me to yeah, dump my thoughts.
Dump the thoughts. Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah.
It's funny to think that like instead of just calling one person, you'd rather tell like millions.
Yeah,
It's like that weird detachment when there's a screen.
response, I think I just want to say my piece, and then
Yeah,
then leave it.
for sure. And how have you found trying to remain your authentic self while going through this growing thing?
It is kind of hard, I think, like, because my real like true authentic self is a bit shy and more reserved, and like I do get really anxious, and I have like social anxiety. I don't love to just be super like out there and crazy with every stranger I meet. So it's like, but people really want that because they see that from TikTok, that they seem like this really out there person, and then they're like a bit let down. And I just feel like I have to be really switched on when I do that. That's one thing I'm still learning to navigate, is still remaining authentic to myself, but not like disappointing people with that.
Yeah, as long as you're not disappointing yourself, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, remaining authentic for sure, just like in any moment is hard, but as long as you're staying true to yourself and like
Yeah.
making yourself proud. What has been your proudest moment so far?
I think that this tour like has been my proudest night, and coming to the US and having people there like know the words to my songs and be dressed in all pink and selling out the shows so fast was like a really proud moment for me.
Yeah, nice. And what can you talk about, like, besides the moment of people proposing, but what has your experience been like performing live? Like, has it always been positive? Have you had any negative experiences?
It started out really negative. Like I
Yeah.
absolutely hated it, and like because I am like such an anxious person, and I didn't have any experience doing anything live, and I got kind of thrown in the deep end just because I'd built this audience so early on in a time where I couldn't go and perform, like during COVID. Like, so by the time things opened up, I had this big audience that were like flying interstate to come see me, and it was like I didn't really get a chance to sort of build up that practice and fumble a little bit without people noticing. So it was like everyone was recording it and everybody was there, and it was just, so I was mortified by performing on stage. I was so embarrassed and awkward and hated it, but now I love it, and it's like one of my favorite things to do. It's like I get to just, now that you just kind of fall into a pattern of like, okay, this is fun, and this is what I enjoy doing, and it's not so like terrifying and nerve-wracking.
What advice would you give to other artists who feel like they're anxious or introverted and like they have that fear of performing live? What advice would you give to them of like how you changed your thought process about it?
I kind of just look at it as like an alter ego, almost. Like I kind of had to do a little bit of that when I was a stripper, so I have that experience behind it where I kind of like, I don't know if I can give that advice to other people. I wouldn't recommend going to do that first, but that's kind of how I do it. Is I just kind of think about it as like, okay, I'm just being this character, I'm performing, I'm like, it's like a drag show almost for me. I'm like in the wig, I've got wings on, I'm just, you know, I'm singing karaoke in my room, having the time of my life, and then I come back to being shy and awkward in private.
It's not, yeah, you get to be like two different versions of yourself. It's cool. And can you talk about how music has played a part in your self-discovery? Like what have you learned about yourself through this process?
um I think I've learned that maybe I have more ability than I gave myself credit for. Maybe like I think like originally I was like I would write songs because I enjoyed it, but I didn't know if they were any good or if I really knew what I was doing. But seeing how much like praise I've been given for things like my lyrics and stuff, it's been so heartwarming and so like nice to hear that I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I actually am like good at this and I can do this, and it's, you know, I've learned that about myself.
Yeah, I could say the same thing to you. Clearly, you're good at what you're doing. What has been your favorite song that you've come out with so far? What one do you have the biggest emotional attachment to?
um I really love Forever Drunk and Loved You Before. Like I just love like the really fun, like party, like bubblegum pop sort of songs. Like they make me so happy to listen to and so happy to sing. And so it'd be like a tie between those two, I think.
And when you're writing songs like that, how do you incorporate like the sensitive subjects while being like humorous and poppy at the same time? How do you manage to bridge those? Because you do it very well.
Thank you. I usually start with it being a bit of a sad ballady sounding song, or like a folky almost song. Like it'll be like on keys or like on my acoustic guitar, and it'll be a lot slower, and it'll just be like how I'm getting the feelings out, and then I'll write the song like that, and then we just kind of speed it up and put like a 4 on the floor beat over it and like make it like sparkly and fun, and then it's the same song just with, you know, different production to it.
Nice. Yeah. Grateful for producers for being able to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to someone who is struggling to handle all the pressures? Because you've said like it's a little difficult sometimes to maintain that authenticity. So what would you tell someone who is also struggling with feeling like maybe they're not getting to fully be themselves while in the music industry?
I don't know, I need someone to give me advice. I
Fair.
to give someone else any advice on.
Well, what advice do you give yourself? Is that about
I'm just planning out here. I really don't know. I'm struggling. I don't know.
Well, then say, okay, put us into a frame. Like 5 minutes before you're about to go onto stage, what are you doing? What are you saying to yourself? Do you have any like rituals you do before?
I do not. I always get asked that if I have like pre-show rituals. I don't. I truly just stand side of stage and just kind of blank out and just
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
I'm
listen, if no, it's just, don't say sorry. If it works for you, it works for you. Yeah. And what's like the best comment you've ever gotten from a fan, or like anything, or even like a TikTok comment or something like that, like something that's really touched you?
It's hard to pinpoint just one. I feel like it's every day. Like people have inspired me and like and said some really heartfelt, beautiful things to me that that yeah make it feel like less, you know, I'm just stressed and I'm panicking, and it's like, so it's like, oh, okay, there's someone on the other side of this that's connected to that and feeling what I'm doing. So it'd just be, and I can't give it an exact quote of one single
Okay.
comment. That sentiment is really beautiful.
For sure. Yeah, just knowing that people appreciate you, see you. If ever you did not pursue music, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd probably still be stripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you a stripper for?
4 years.
Okay. And what made you make the switch to fully do full-time music?
I didn't want to be doing it, to be honest. Like I wanted to be doing music, but it just wasn't like I couldn't afford to like do that as a job. But as soon as I could, I left, and that was when I made the switch.
Nice. And you happy you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy.
What is your goal for the next year, the next 5 years? Like, what do you want to see within yourself?
That's another question that I'm the worst at answering, because I don't like, I'm very like kind of just take things as they come, and in the moment I if I think too far ahead, then I don't want to point myself where I start spiraling about like I need to do this now,
Sure.
and I'm not going to be happy until this happens. So I kind of just try to be like, whatever's happening is meant to happen, and I'm enjoying it as it's happening.
There's your advice to give to other people. There it is. Just like be in the moment, I guess. Yeah. So my last question would just be how do you I know you said you don't have rituals or anything, but do you do any like forms of self-care, practices of self-care that have been beneficial to
Yeah, like before shows, I guess like I kind of just have to like shut down. I kind of just ask to have the room to myself, and I put my noise canceling headphones on, and like that's kind of my safe space is when I have my headphones on, and I just like need to just get into my little headspace, and I drink some tea and try to just like listen to some music that will make me happy, and then hype up and go out there. Because if I'm too overwhelmed before, like if there's people coming in and talking and everybody's like in the room,
yeah.
it gets like, I get a
What
bit
type of music would you listen to? Like you said,
I,
that just makes you happy.
I listen to like a lot of pop. I listen to like only pop really, but I listen to like Hilary Duff and Kesha and Katy Perry, like
Nice.
that kind of like 2010s pop, and that like just puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, Hilary Duff is really one of the Disney stars I will like forever be grateful for. And she
Yeah,
still seems to not have like gone down a bad path. So she's a big inspiration.
yeah, for sure.
Mm. Well, on behalf of the Rising Star team, thank you. We're excited to keep watching you grow, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And good luck with the tour.